Hi, good morning, everyone. Hope you all are having a great time here. Today is the third and final day of Cypher 2023, and I'm really excited and happy to be interviewing Raghu Krishnananda, who's the Chief Product and Technology Officer at Myntra. So Raghu, really happy to be here, and you know what, I've been following e-commerce companies for a while, and Myntra's journey has been truly fascinating. Myntra has always been synonymous with fashion in terms of, say, the selection, the options that you have, and the search accuracy that Myntra provides is something which is really exceptional. And what I've noticed is, I think it's just getting better. Like, for example, like right now, I could just, go onto the app and search, okay, what do I wear for a tech summit like Cypher? Or say, what do I wear for a vacation after Cypher? And it'll just pretty much give me the options. And it's almost near perfect. So what I've seen is, so when it's this perfect, I mean, I can just confidently say that AI is playing a great role in this. And while search results are just one part of AI use cases in e-commerce, I know that AI plays a key component in other areas as well. So Raghu, can you tell me how indispensable is an AI integration on an e-com platform today? And is this something that has gained popularity after, the ChatGPT rage?
Yeah, good morning, folks. First of all, thank you, Anana, and thank you to Cypher for having me here. It's a pleasure being here. I'm glad you liked our new feature that you talked about, which is called My Fashion GPT, so which is the feature that you're talking about. Maybe I'll talk a little bit more about that. But coming back to your question, as we all know, AI has been around for decades, right? Nothing new. And it's has its, as they say, winters and summers of AI, and it's been like a sinusoidal wave, right, in some sense. And now it's in the more recent past, it's really gained more traction, right? So in Myntra, we've been using AI for 6-7 years, nothing new. Across the value chain. So it's whether it is like, some of the examples I can say are things like, we're known for, as you said, being, having one of the best selections in terms of fashion and lifestyle. And it is a continuous journey. So we need to keep on top of trends, see what is, trending across the globe, and what would sell well and so on to make our business models more efficient and so on. So we use AI for, like, first of all, trend identification, demand forecasting, then sort of pricing. So we use AI for pricing our products, and on the more customer facing side, like personalization. So we have a huge vast selection of products. How do we show what is most relevant to users, right? Personalization plays a big role in that. Search, as you mentioned, is again, AI plays a big role in that. And we have some unique features that we have also launched using AI. The one that you talked about, which is a couple of months old, which is My Fashion GPT, again, looking at Gen AI and leveraging that. So we've also been, one of the, I would say, pioneers in leveraging this technology and providing some solutions out there for our users. This is where we can enable users to use natural language search and then look exactly the examples that you gave, which cannot be handled by a regular search engines, right? So this is where Gen AI is leveraged to identify what you mean by that for the query understanding, and then translate that to what is an internal API which hits our search infrastructure and show relevant products. And we've just most recently also introduced a conversational commerce feature called Maya. So this is more a Q&A, a question, My Fashion GPT, but Maya is actually conversational. So that is something that it's actually, I think it's around 50% A/B tests right now. So maybe not everybody might have it, but if you do, please do check it out. It's interesting. So this again uses Gen AI. So this, we've always been leveraging. We've been one of the first early adopters of AI, but now with Gen AI out there, we see a lot of exciting possibilities. So we've definitely experimenting with this as well.
And I think right now there's the fashion sale also happening, right?
Yep.
It's still
The big
this.
fashion festival,
Yes.
yes.
So I think we see as customers, I mean, I've been a big shopper on this sale, and I've come across those apps that you talked about. So speaking about in Myntra, which parts of the e-com cycle do you think an AI integration would lead to optimum results? And how much value add has this added, to your company?
Sure. As I mentioned, so we use AI across our value chain. So if you look at broadly at the e-commerce business, right? So there are probably three parts to it. So one is the whole retailing, procurement, side of things. Then there is the actual customer experience and the shopping funnel, which is the primary interface for the customers. And then there is the post-purchase experience, which is supply chain, customer care, and so on, right? So we use AI across the board. So maybe I'll talk a little bit and give some examples, right? So on the procurement side, as I mentioned, the whole trend identification, attribute extraction. So like again, using computer vision, saying, okay, why is this trending? What are the product attributes? What is it about the collar, sleeve length, pattern, whatever that this is, that makes this trending? And then this is then made available to our buyers and designers so that they can then leverage that and design new products accordingly, right? And then we also have something called style grading, where we predict what might sell on our platform, right? And then based on that, we do some demand forecasting. And then this feeds into our buy plans. So our designers use it for our private label brands. And then we also make this available to our buyers to make buy plans and buy decisions. And then of course pricing. So we have about 23 lakh styles on our on our platform. And it's impossible to manually, do pricing for this and, make changes and accordingly. So using various internal, external factors, we use AI and various algos to actually automate this whole pricing process, right? Then coming to the user experience, customer experience part, talked about personalization. So this is across the shopping funnel. If you first start with, let's say, the home page, you see various, product banners out there that is personalized, what we show to you, right? Then the product recommendations. Again, it's important to recommend the right products, otherwise, it can confuse the users. So that is completely AI driven. Even the widgets that you see, on the ordering of the widgets, that's completely AI driven, what we call as vertical widget reordering. AI plays a big role in search, for query understanding, things like auto suggest. And of course, we also have a fairly good, visual search feature. So again, computer vision comes into play there for enhancing our search experience. And then even when you search, the results that are shown to you, the sort order of the results, right? That is personalized again. So it's not only, so it's both, offline and actually near real time. So that's actually a very hard problem to solve with the scale that we have in terms of the number of products, the number of users that come onto a platform, to show near real time. So it means you might look for, generally shop, let's say for you, some expensive clothes. And let's say now you're looking to buy something for gifting or something else, right? So maybe you're looking for, something a little different. So we want to understand what you're looking for in this session and accordingly tailor our, search results. So there's near real-time personalization. Another unique problem in our industry, in the fashion industry, is the size and fit. As we all know, when you buy a certain size, in a certain brand, now if you go to a different brand, the same size will not fit, right? So how can we, confidently recommend, sizes, so irrespective of which brands you choose, right? So we use AI. So this is not only if okay, you bought a t-shirt on brand A and what we can recommend for a t-shirt in brand B, but it's actually cross products, right? So we can then use that information to recommend the right size for you for a formal shirt, right? Or even a pant. So, so that is again, AI driven. So there are features like, let's say, things like using AR, VR, which again, AI is leveraged there for features like virtual try-on, right? So as we want to bring in some aspects of the offline experience online, saying how can we enable users to make purchase decisions easier. So which is where you want to allow the users to virtually try on products, right? Whether it is apparel or beauty products. Um, and we have a big selection of beauty products, beauty and personal care products. So we, again, using computer vision, we have something called a skin analyzer, saying as a live image of your face, you know, it analyzes the skin based on whatever dark circles may be, and whatever blemishes one might have on the skin, and accordingly recommend the right products, right? So that's another area that we use AI. And then, if we look at, again, some specific interesting features to provide new experiences, such as the My Fashion GPT that I described and the conversational commerce Maya, there's another feature that we have introduced called My Stylist, again, which is completely homegrown, like, developed by our awesome data science team, which is basically to give you a look recommendation. So in Myntra, our vision or mission has always been to democratize fashion using technology, right? So keeping that in mind, right? So why should only the rich and famous can afford to have personal stylists? Why can't we make a personal stylist available to everybody, right? So that was the thought process there. So we have, again, always doing these things at scale is always a big challenge, right? So which is where AI plays a critical role in being able to recommend looks, right? Saying if you have bought a shirt, like you can suggest, we suggest what might go well with it. And it's not just an obvious thing like a shirt and a pant, but it is actually accessories as well, right? What kind of a watch might go well with this, or shoe, or so on and so forth. So that's, again, something that we do. Now moving to the post-purchase part, I mean, which is the supply chain, various ways we use AI, which is our workflow automation. How do we bring in more efficiencies, delivery route optimization for our delivery executives, customer care, right? So how do we make all relevant information available to our customer care agents at their fingertips while they're responding to customer queries, and also, of course, chatbots to make this more efficient. So various use cases using AI.
So is it fair to say that so the majority of the AI integration is to help users, to help with personalization and customization, and that's where AI has been.
Yeah, so it is to
majorly
enhance customer experience. That is one aspect. Bring in more efficiency and optimization is another aspect. So this could be for our customer care agents, as I mentioned, or we were talking about the previous speaker was talking about pair programming and so using Copilot, right, for improving software developer productivity. So it could be various aspects of optimization and productivity improvements. So yeah, both aspects.
So how do you measure the success of all this AI integration on your platform? Is it more of a quantitative measure where you have parameters, or is it more of a qualitative approach? And how do you do it in Myntra?
Sure. So for us, I mean, AI or any technology like a blockchain or a AR/VR, whatever it might be, right, is a means to an end. It is to solve a specific problem, right, at hand, like business problem or so on. And which means that whenever it is treated like any, a feature based on AI is treated like any other feature, where before we roll that out, we have some metrics in mind saying, okay, if we do this, this is what it might help, move these metrics, right? Whether it's a new enhancement or a brand new feature. So it could be like what we call as, let's say, an L0 metric, which is like let's say a customer NPS or a seller NPS, revenue, conversion, retention, DAU, MAU, whatever it might be, right? So these are, let's say, an L0 metrics, and there could be some L1 metrics, which is like conversion along the funnel, time spent by the customer. So we have a fairly large content commerce section, again, to provide inspiration, fashion inspiration to make purchase decisions. How do you recommend content or so on, right? So time spent, people viewing this content. Um, all of this are metrics that we look at and many more. And like I mentioned, just like any other feature, an AI-based feature also has certain targets that we want to shoot for and try to do that, right? So, but one additional complexity I would say with the AI is, unlike some other um, aspects, um, this is there's a lot more probabilistic element to it, right? So the level of uncertainty. It's not like, okay, do X, Y, Z, and there's some optimization efficiency where you cut down from reduce 8 steps to 3 steps, and then you know that you will achieve some optimization and efficiency, and you can kind of predict that in a more certain or fairly accurate way. But when you're using probabilistic methods, it is very highly difficult, especially when it is customer facing, which is where experimentation and A/B testing plays a huge vital role, and we use that extensively across the board.
Are there any specific numbers that you can give in Myntra, like how it has helped?
Various numbers. For example, let's say the recommendation that I was talking about, product recommendations that we have. So if you look at our product recommendation widgets, they perform. If you look at just, let's say, CTRs or of those, compare with others, it performs like at least 2x to 2.5x better, right? And simply because it is personalized and very relevant for users. So, for example, the new feature that we released and you talked about, which is the My Fashion GPT. So we have about 2.5 to 3% of our users who have already adopted this feature, and we see like an 18% repeat usage, right? So people who have used it come back and use, 18% of them come back to use it, which is a fairly decent number and growing. So one of the metrics we had in mind when we rolled this out was we are expanding into a lot of categories. We are known for apparel, but we have a huge beauty and personal care selection, home furnishing selection, and so on. So how can we recommend other products, right? Cross-sell. It was one such goal we had in mind, and we see that people who use this feature, because we recommend other products, like I mentioned, accessories and so on, as part of this whole thing, collection. So we see people who use this, a propensity of people to buy more than one product, category of products is actually much higher, right? Like about, I would say like about 25 to 30% higher than our regular other users who don't use this. So those are a couple of examples, yeah.
Those are some promising numbers. Moving on to the next question. A lot of companies brand themselves saying that we're using generative AI. But in reality, in reality, they're just AI wrappers where you just have plugins, you have APIs, you just call on, you make a personalized chatbot using ChatGPT. So how are e-commerce companies essentially doing it? How is Myntra doing it? And so what is the right way forward?
Sure. Yeah, in many ways, Gen AI has democratized certain sections or certain areas of AI, right? Again, as an example, this whole Fashion GPT thing was developed in one of our internal hackathons by a couple of our engineers, no data scientist involved. So that was quite unthinkable, some time ago, right? In that way, it has actually democratized certain parts, certain sections of AI, in this case, like NLP, right? So we think that there's a lot of possibilities that this brings to the table, and very interesting use cases that we can address. And when you think of Gen AI, various ways that one can look at it, right? So one is like just using APIs of commercially available LLMs, which is probably what you're referring to as a wrapper, right? So that is one obvious way to use Gen AI. Another way, with taking it to the next level, is like using techniques like RAG, which is a retrieval augmented generation, where you want to then use some of our internal knowledge bases stored in vector DBs in conjunction with some of these LLMs, right? So that's another kind of way to use LLMs or Gen AI. then you can actually fine-tune LLMs using your own proprietary data, right? Or you can develop your own LLMs, right? So where you start with an open source LLM and then you build your own LLM, let's say an e-commerce LLM, right? So various approaches one can take, and what I just described is like increasing level of complexity and cost. So we need to choose the right approach based on the problem you're trying to solve.
With respect to AI adoption, what are the current trends that are emerging in an e-commerce domain? And what are the future trends that you see will emerge?
Yeah. So GenAI, I mean LLMs, if we talk about, so I think the one obvious one is like the whole user understanding, query understanding, intent understanding. Really helps, you know, in that space, and some of the use cases that we have implemented are in that area. So like this whole sentiment analysis summarization is another one. So where we, this is something again in AB where we have like, let's say reviews. So we have a lot of reviews for products, and instead of the customer having to go through like, you know, 20 different reviews, what if we can summarize, call out some key features of this product, let's say the stretchability of the material, whether it runs color or not, whatever like it might be, right? So identify those key aspects or attributes and make it all available and score or rank them, right? Makes it so much more easier for users to make a decision. So any of these kind of use cases, we're using it, and it's very helpful. Again, I talked about AR, VR, so this whole virtual try-on. So this is still probably not super mainstream, but certainly growing, right? Because people find value. Again, going back to your metrics question, so people who use this feature, we see people, the adoption, the conversion, and so on, much higher than people who don't. So it's more about discovery and people being comfortable using it. So these are some things that we're already doing, and it helps. But it has a lot more use cases, interesting use cases. We look ahead. This whole, let's say, chatbot, you know, really maybe taking it to the next level of being a true fashion stylist, for example, right? Could be one way to look at it. So how this could evolve as an example, right? So various ways that one can see this evolving into certain really interesting use cases to solve problems.
And is this something that all e-commerce companies can, you know, bring into their platforms as well, the future trends that you just spoke about?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of companies are working on it. And like I mentioned, in many ways, some aspects of AI has been democratized by Gen AI, right? So now you don't need to have a really top-notch data science team, which comes with a huge cost and so on, in order to be able to do some of this. So yes, a lot more companies will adopt, you know, these kind of features.
Got it. Speaking about the obvious question on jobs, so there's always been discussions on how AI would replace jobs, or someone who knows AI will replace someone who doesn't. So now, even in an e-commerce platform, if you say traditionally you have an associate or a cataloger who helps with assisting a seller in, you know, uploading their products online. Now, if you have AI integration, you're pretty much enabling sellers to do it on their own. So isn't that an example of how those jobs can become redundant? So do you see that all these integration might in some way make jobs redundant?
So the role of technology in general, right, is always to bring about newer, better experiences for our customers, improve productivity, right, disrupt our current ways of working, and enable us to do bigger, better things, right? And Gen AI is nothing different. So it's like any other technology. I think the previous speaker, I think, touched upon it as I heard her when I was walking in, where jobs will evolve, right? I mean, so the analogy kind of thing I was thinking about it was like, way back when we did not have cars or railroads. I mean, we have like horse-drawn carriages, right? So, and when the innovations came in, I I mean, they had to reinvent themselves, retool themselves, and there were actually more jobs after these inventions came in than before. Exactly like that. So there will be some. I mean, obviously, it will force people to reinvent themselves, retool themselves. Look at, for example, like again, forward-looking, the question that you asked about. Today, all the designs are done by designers, right? Now, with some of our the visual, the Gen AI part, so we can actually create designs, right, using Gen AI, and then designers can actually leverage this, right? It will not take away the role of a designer, but then if a designer does not leverage this, he or she will be left behind. So it makes their job so much more better and interesting. Um, Leveraging the tool. I mean, this is a tool, end of the day. So, there's one more tool in the kitty so that they can use, and they have to. It is an imperative that then they will need to, know how to use this, right? Whether it is, a copyright writer or a marketing person, I mean, they will have to use this, and which makes their lives so much more efficient. Uh, a role like prompt engineering was never there, a year ago. So that's a new job that is out there. So it is going to change things. It is not going to, I would say, take away jobs, as you put it.
So we can say that upskilling, I mean, that would become a mandate, more of a mandate where a person has to.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So we've come to the end of the discussion. We can open up questions from the audience, if any.
Hi, fantastic talk. I'm product manager from B2B for Shell. Do you have a B2B side of the portal which people like us don't get to see? Maybe do you want to say anything on that?
Sorry, what portal did you say?
How do you interact with your B2B vendors, right? Your vendor partners, your suppliers.
Yeah.
So do you have a B2B arm of Myntra?
Yes.
That's my first question.
Yes.
Second question is on localization. Are you planning to use Gen AI to sort of localize? I've seen some of your foreign competitors have local portals. Just
sure.
A couple of questions.
Yeah, so sorry, I guess most of the things that I talked about were customer facing. Yes, we do have a partner portal. To interact with our partners who form obviously a very, very critical part of our ecosystem, right? And we are, and there are various, AI is used there as well. For example, I mean, we have, a lot of reports and dashboards available on our portal to have people this at their fingertips, and also some of the operationalization, let's say like a replenishment. I mean, if some stock is getting over, how can they just replenish without having to talk to anybody? But we want to go beyond this, and which is what we introduced. We want to provide insights to our partners, right? So we have a lot of data. So how can we help our partners grow their business? Saying, okay, how is your brand performing vis-a-vis, let's say, similar brands on our platform? What can you do to improve, whether it's a pricing strategy, an inventory strategy, whatever it might be? What can you do to improve your business, right? So those are things that we actually offer, and so we're using AI for that. And we will be introducing a chatbot again there as well, again using AI. So I think it's in the works. It should come out soon.
Hey, Raghu.
Hello.
I'm from the marketing and creative domain, so I found your session very engaging. So we've been dealing with digital twins, creating those for some of our clients.
Sorry, I'm not able to hear you. Are you able to?
It's not very audible.
Yeah.
Could you push that up on the monitors?
Is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better. Yeah.
Yes, better.
I was saying I'm from the marketing and creative space. We've been talking to our clients about creating digital twins, how you can adapt them to different virtual environments. I wanted to get a peek from you on what customer experience, what that looks like. Are you playing around with creating virtual avatars from a customer standpoint? What does that Myntra interface look like 2 years, 5 years from now?
Okay. So there's a little bit of echo, but if I understood you right, you're saying, how would the Myntra interface look 2 years from now for the customer? Okay, great. Yeah, it's an interesting question. There are, okay, so broadly, I mean, I would say, so there are few ways to look at it, right? So one is like the whole metaverse kind of view, right? So frankly, I mean, we didn't go down that path yet. I mean, that's an interesting thing to explore, but we have not gone down that path yet because we feel that it still needs to mature a little bit. And in the meantime, we have a lot more burning, interesting problems to solve, right? So we're focusing more on that. So that could be one way of an interface that could come. There have been some players, out there, let's say like a Nike, for example, or even a Walmart, which have introduced the metaverse kind of store, right? Another one is, a conversational commerce that I spoke about. That could be something which is very interesting, much more real, right? And could be something that could grow bigger. It is still, again, fairly novel. It will require a different way of interaction for the customers. So it'll be interesting to see how the adoption increases. So which is why we've definitely put our foot in the door there, and we have this interface called Maya, as I mentioned, which we've rolled out as well, right? Another aspect, especially for some vertical like Myntra, is like video commerce, right, or content-based commerce. So how can we enable the user to start their journey through content and derive inspiration from content, and then come into commerce, right? Which is why we introduced M Studio 2 years ago, actually 2.5 years ago, and we've been one of the first ones to do that. So which has certainly helped. If you see this in some other countries, it's taken off big time, right? And we followed that up with, let's say, MLive, where influencers. So this is a platform where thousands of influencers come and publish content, right? And this is and then do live shows. We have that thing enabled as well. And now, since people don't have patience to watch long-form videos, we have taking inspiration from Instagram. So we have minis as well, right? So short-form videos. This is something that we continue to push and evolve. We've seen this phenomenally successful in certain other countries, like example China, right? It's a huge market, and then interface very popular. Here it's still not taken out. So what we are doing is, while we are improving all of this, we are introducing content along the shopping funnel, right? Instead of that being an actually exclusive starting point for our customers, which we still will try and do and experiment and innovate there. We felt it's more helpful in the near term to introduce content in the shopping journey itself in the most relevant way. So that is what we are trying to do. So yeah, these would be some new kind of interaction kind of models, probably.
And
Thank
that
you.
is our time for questions.
All right.
Yep.
Hello.
Yeah.
Could we put our hand together for the gentleman on
that's
stage?
okay.
Raghu, thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for being with us here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Vandana, for
Thank
taking
you.
that forward.